Hey guys, and welcome to Southern Food Junkie. Today we're going to do a little video on the history of Southern cuisine. I hope you'll stick around and enjoy this little talk with me. There's going to be no cooking involved in this, but this is going to kind of set the stage for a series of dishes that I'm going to be cooking coming up for New Year's. So y'all stay tuned. So today I want to talk about the history of Southern dishes. A lot of this information I got from Wikipedia, which, you know, a lot of times people say is not very reliable. But I wanted to, a lot of this information is sort of truthful. So let's kind of dig into some of this. We're going to talk about the history of Southern cuisine, what is Southern cuisine, and some types of subcategories of Southern cuisine, which even I did not realize. Southern cuisine has a lot of deep roots and a lot of deep history, and many people just kind of clump Southern cuisine together, but there are many different subcategories within Southern cuisine. So a lot of times when people think about food of the South, they think about, you know, collard greens, and they think about, you know, cornbread, macaroni and cheese, and things of that line, things on that line, but it's really a lot more than that. So today we're going to talk about some of the subcategories and the ones that I feel has influenced me and my family the most from being in South Carolina. So have you ever heard of the term called tidewater? I first just heard of this term last week from a gardener friend of mine, gardening with Jules, and he mentioned something about his uncle was a tidewater person. So I had to look the term up, and I found that he was really meaning that he was from the coast of Virginia and enjoyed seafood and cooking any type of seafood that comes from that region. But after looking it up, I found that it can mean anybody from the coast of Rhode Island all the way to the upper coast of South Carolina, which is like all the way down to Myrtle Beach. All right, the next one we're going to talk about is Appalachian cuisine. Of course, when you think about Appalachian, you think about hillbillies and the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Great Smoky Mountains. So the Appalachian Mountains, they stretch all the way from the northern tip of Alabama all the way up to the southern part of New York. But when I think about Appalachia, I mainly think about the Blue Ridge Mountains, you know, northern Georgia, the upstate of South Carolina, western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, pretty much that region right there. Then we have Cajun cuisine. This is another subcategory under the Southern cuisine, and this would mainly be Louisiana, and then that kind of goes along with Creole cuisine would be in Louisiana as well. All right, this is another big one for me being in South Carolina, and this is Lowcountry cuisine. So this is mainly South Carolina. This is the flat area between Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina. You know, it stretches a little beyond that, like Pawleys Island and such, but it's mainly that flat area. It consists of salt marshes, brackish water. Your rice plantations were the Africans that were come here that were slaves. They brought with them beans, which is where field peas, iron clay peas, which is your black eyed peas, those sort of dishes got influenced into a lot of the South Carolina dishes that we'll talk about as we go forward. All right, and the last subcategory we're going to talk about is Floridian. Now, this was a new one on me too. I've never heard of Floridian. As you can imagine, this is in Florida, and this has a lot of Caribbean influences involved with this. And all these cuisines that we're talking about here are influenced by Africans, Caribbeans, French, Spanish, Asians, Native Americans, Germans, Irish, Scottish. All of this is kind of like into this melting pot of cuisines that we call Southern cuisine now, and there's all these different subcategories in here. So now we're going to focus on the South Carolina Lowcountry and the Appalachian cuisine. Like I said, it's a relatively flat land in the Lowcountry, a lot of salt marshes, brackish water. Lots of seafood abounds here. You have oysters, shrimp. I can, during shrimp season, I can ride down the road and I can find many people that are selling it on roadside stands, even in my area. And I live in the upper central Piedmont of South Carolina. Not only shrimp, but they're selling boiled peanuts. But we eat a lot of shrimp and oysters here in South Carolina. And all of this is influenced by the southern part of my state. So Lowcountry cuisine is influenced by dishes that include seafood, rice, and beans. One of the dishes that is traditional to my state is called Hoppin' John, and we're going to try to make that here for you in a few weeks. Lowcountry boil is another one. I already have a Lowcountry boil recipe on here. Lowcountry boil is similar to a seafood boil, or the Cajuns might call it a shrimp boil, and people up in Virginia, Tidewater people might call theirs a crab boil. We call ours a Lowcountry boil. It consists of smoked sausage, corn, shrimp, and then we also have a dish called chicken bog, and this is rice, chicken, and smoked sausage that is cooked, and the rice is real starchy, and it's kind of boggy. That's where it gets its name from. Some people also might refer to this as a chicken purloo or rice purloo. But those are Lowcountry influenced dishes. Also a traditional dish of South Carolina's catfish stew. I have a recipe of that as well. All of these dishes are influenced by the rice plantations that were once here and once grew within our state. All right, let's talk about some of the Appalachian cuisine. The upstate of South Carolina is in the Blue Ridge Mountains. If you look at our state, it kind of comes across and it kind of juts down. The upper portion up there is in the mountainous region. So that's influenced by more of the Appalachian cuisine. This would be more of your cornbread recipes, your homegrown veggies. You would get more of that up there. Venison stew, ramps, which is kind of like a wild onion, pawpaws, which is a native fruit to the southern United States, and it grows a lot in the Appalachian Mountains, which I just recently planted 2 pawpaw trees here at my house. And then you got your poke salad, and then a lot of food that was foraged for. So they would go out and hunt and gather food, and that's where a lot of the recipes come from. Whereas down in the low part of the state, they fished and harvest shrimp and oysters and fish, and they had the rice down there and the sandy soil, which was perfect for growing beans and things of that nature. So all this kind of brings me to the point of this video. New Year's Day in the South, we always have a traditional meal here. It can usually consist of black-eyed peas, greens of some sort. It could be collard greens, turnip greens, mustard greens, or a combination of those. It also involves some type of ham, whether that be pork or barbecue or ribs, or some people would do pig's feet. But there's meaning behind each one of them. And you also have cornbread. There's meaning behind each one of these. And so I'm going to be doing a series of 3 or 4 videos on a few of these dishes. Black-eyed peas. I'm going to make Hoppin' John. I've already got a cornbread recipe. And I'll have the first one that'll come up in this series. Of course, the cornbread's already out. But the first one that'll come up in this series will be greens with turnips. Some people call this meal a lucky meal. Like I said, there's meaning behind each one of them. The cornbread is usually to represent gold. The collard greens are there to represent money or good fortune. The black-eyed peas are there to represent coins or prosperity. And the ham, I think, is for good luck. There's variations to this too, depending on what area you go to. And this stuff was passed down from generation to generation, and how that goes. Sometimes things can change. And then there's variations to the meals that people eat, like I was mentioning before, the type of pork. And then some people eat cabbage instead of greens. So there's no right or wrong reason, right or wrong way to do this. But it's more or less a meal that was put together, and you know, the South was poor, and they didn't have a lot of money a lot of times, and you know, they depended on agriculture to get them by. So this meal was there to kind of represent change for the new year, and in hopes that things would be better than they were in the past. So I think this is very, very good content to use going into 2021, as we've experienced you know, 2020, and a lot of people has had a rough time in 2020, whether it be loss of job or finances or isolation, depression, sickness, and even death. All right, guys, like I stated before, I appreciate you guys watching, and if you'll hit that like button and share our videos, I appreciate it. And this video, like I said, is I hope to do more of this type of video going forward. And my channel is I'm gonna try to focus my channel solely on Southern food and cooking. There may be some other dishes that I show in here, and from time to time I may still do a restaurant, but it's solely gonna be focusing from here on out on cooking and maybe some educational stuff like this. So I thank y'all for watching, and I appreciate it. I love each and every one of you. We'll see you on the next video, and remember, let's get food junk, guys. All right, guys, if you like videos like this, try clicking on one of these videos right here. I'm sure you'll like it too. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel. That way when we release new videos, you will be notified. You can click the little bell notification, and it'll send you a notification on your phone or your computer that we got a new video out. Thank you.